What's going on, y'all? It's your man Quincy Whetstone, aka Q Stone, and welcome to another episode of the BeatStreet Podcast, man. Look, before we get started, y'all make sure y'all like, y'all subscribe, and y'all share, because I need y'all to do that so I can build this platform and we can make this thing keep going and going and going. Already? So today, man, I got my brother. Hold on, before I do that, I'm just going to hit play on this beat real quick. Yeah. Already. So today, man, I got my brother from out of town who be hooking me up with shows and events and all types of stuff, man. So I want to introduce y'all to Mr. Q. Where you at?
What's up, baby?
What's going on, man?
Man, look, chilling down here in the country. Hot, man, hot.
Man, that beat that y'all just heard is on my first instrumental album called Instrumentals for the World by Q Stone, the producer. It's on all the platforms, and I'm almost done with Instrumentals for the World #2. I'm pretty much done. I'm just mixing it right now, so y'all check that out. What's up, Q? What's going on, my brother?
What's going on, man? Ain't much going on my end, man. Yeah. Just kind of chilling right now, you know?
Yeah. How are things out there in Bryan?
Hot.
Hey, it's hot in H-Town, too. You know what it is. Like summertime. Man, man.
It's hot, dude.
Man, how the fam and everything, man?
The family doing good, man.
Yeah.
You know, we stay busy during the summertime, but, you know, we officially slowly going back to work. So my wife started today. So guess what? You know, here chilling. You know,
education.
I get 3 more weeks, though. I'm good.
Yeah, man. So what that's been like, man? You been in dealing with them kids, man. What's going on? How's that world?
Listen, after so many years, I've seen so many changes. I've seen, you know, kids go from, you know, being really respectful to now where they just don't care. I mean, but I can still work with them, you know, because I can, you know, relate. So it's, you know, it's easy to work with them. But after a while, I think I'll probably have to throw in the towel and say, hey, I'm done, man.
Yeah. So of course, you know, it's always a lot different from generation to generation. Mm-hmm. So, but one thing I noticed about this generation is they like us too in their own time, though. I mean, I think they just have to deal with what they have around them because their environment is different. What they see every day is different. And I be thinking, how would we have been if we had social media back then? If we had all this information.
We would have been able to handle that, man. We would have. I look at social media and I know how I was. No, man, no.
Yeah.
It would have been, man, look, we wouldn't been able to handle it.
I'm telling you, because it's some stuff, boy. I'm telling you, man, it's some stuff. I'm so glad, man. We probably would have been like, oh, you take that. I would have been, you know, but I definitely like the fact that it does help you get that exposure, because it was hard to get exposed back, way hard to get exposed. You had to walk around everywhere. You know, now you can just stay at home and get your exposure, man. So I think that's really cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So, Q, tell me about, man, because I know you. I know where you're from. I know your character. But just tell me about you. What is it, something about you that I don't know? Or, because I know you was raised, you was a
PK.
A PK.
Right.
Yes,
right.
You know what I'm saying? You're PK, and you are a comedian. Mm-hmm. And do you still consider yourself a comedian?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Most definitely.
So just give me like a rundown of Q, man. Just a little short rundown of Q. How'd you get to where you are today?
Short rundown, man. Being the only child, my dad's a preacher, and him and my mom got married. They were really young, so I grew up as the only child. So I had no choice but to be creative. You know, I was full of creativity. I didn't know what creativity was back then, but you know, I was full of it. As a kid, I was always into voices, television. Even though we only had Channel 3 and Channel 10, I was into television. And my mom would have a tape recorder, and this is what kind of started me to liking music, doing voices, and my favorite show was Fat Albert, so I was always running around the house, hey, it's Fat Albert, singing the song, making beats with my mouth, beatboxing, cause back then, being a preacher's kid, I had to go to my cousin's house to hear music. All I really heard was the Fat Boys, Grandmaster Flash, Houdini, because that was back then, and the Sugar Hill Gang and stuff like that. So between that and art, because I always drew, that's one thing you probably don't know about me, is I used to be actually in school. I was the top artist in the Brazos Valley. I always won all of the awards and, freehand art.
So in Johnson, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something crazy. I made money off of, how they do the clothes now with the spray paint and the painting. I would do that as a kid. I'm 13 years old. We had dudes lined up at the front door bringing their pants so I can do their pants, paint on them. I'm talking about freehand, $2 and $3 a pop. Man, I was an entrepreneur, man, at 13 and didn't even realize it. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, being the only child, the love for music really kind of weighed on me a lot because, like I said, I was always around my uncles who sung, my cousins, but I couldn't do the R&B. I couldn't do the rap. I couldn't do all of this. So that really didn't hit till later on in my life because I was like, man, what is my daddy going to think about me doing rap, whether it's gospel or whatever it is, So that's a little bit about me. And I was raised in the small town of Hearn, where you came on Juneteenth. That was my hometown. It's still my hometown.
So how do you feel about that now? Like, do you consider yourself to have been sheltered?
Honestly, most people ask me that, but no, because I was around kids that were preachers' kids just like me. And man, when I tell you they couldn't watch TV, they couldn't go to the skating rink, they couldn't go to the bowling alley, they couldn't, there was a lot of stuff they couldn't do. My only restrictions were if it's anything that was going on a church night, I had to be at church. But my dad would let me spend the night at my cousin's house. I went to the movies every now and then. So I really wasn't sheltered. So I didn't feel that stress that most sheltered kids felt, but I've seen it. I had friends. My dad had real close preacher friends, and his kids, if I stayed all night, I remember two of the daughters that would sneak out the window. Yeah. and because it was, when you can't do this, you can't do that. You got to figure out. But I never felt that stress of being sheltered, man. I really didn't. And then I had a grandma. And dude, when I say grandma didn't play that, if she felt like they were doing too much, grandma said, hey, baby, come stay with me for the weekend. Yeah. So yeah.
So do you appreciate it now from how you was raised now even more? Or how do you feel like just being a preacher's kid? Like, do you have like different appreciations for it now that you're older? Oh yeah. Well, because I learned morals, that's the main, because I'll say this. My dad was, most people, when they say PK, you automatically think, oh, he was bossy, yelling and screaming. That wasn't my dad, so my dad was the guy, he was in the military too. So it's like, hey, when you get up in the morning, I'm going to work. I want the yard done when I get back. Just like that. Sometimes I didn't do it and got in trouble, but it was never a belittling situation. I never got screamed at. My mom, on the other hand, she would give me those prepaid whoopings like I was going to do something, but I didn't. Yeah, go and get one.
Yeah, just because. But my dad, he was different, and he was giving. So I learned so much from him and my grandmother, how to respect people, how to give, how to be loving to people no matter where they are. Don't prejudge people, never judge a book by its cover. So I feel like my upbringing was really good because, like I said, I was the only child. We didn't have a whole lot, but I didn't know we didn't have a whole lot because I was always fat full, Yeah. I knew the difference between yes and no. And I think that's one of the major things that helped me, because I would hear a lot of no's and then a yes versus a lot of yeses and never a no. You know, so you know, I didn't grow up that way. So yeah.
You know what? And that's that's very because I was the same way, and I got a lot of no's just because of they just couldn't, you know. But now it just like I've learned that I don't need a lot. I want certain things, but I don't need a lot, and I'm very happy not needing a lot or not wanting a lot. You know.
Exactly. And my wife and I, we talk all the time. I'm simple. And the problem I have is when I get, like, say if I get some money today, I'm giving it to my kids or you know, hey, y'all want to go to the store? Because I'm not a Jordan guy. I've had one pair of Jordans in my life. You know what I'm saying? You've seen me before now. You know, when I come in to perform, I'm dressed up. But
yeah.
You know, during the day, I'm comfortable. You know, I don't have to have a whole lot to make me feel like I'm up here. You know, I feel like I'm up here already mentally. You know what I'm saying? I got the confidence already. You know.
Yeah, and don't get it twisted. We want things. Don't say I just don't. But you know, that's not what drives.
That's not your main. My main concern right now. That's not my primary concern. You know.
Yeah, man. So I met you at the poetry thing for Reggie. I think first time I met you.
Yep.
And I don't know if you was performing or not that day, but I did. But that was my early interest into Christian gospel hip hop world. But you been in it for a long time. I've been knowing about it for a long time. What do you see today that's a lot different than when you first got into the gospel hip hop world?
Man, the difference today is that there's a lot of trying to be just like the next person. You know, back when I first started Christian rap, holy hip hop, whatever you want to call it, there were people like you had Grapetree. They had a bunch of artists. Then you had people like in Houston, you had Trey 9, you had BBJ, who was mainstream, the only artist that had ever really been mainstream, you know, except for when Lecrae came along. But those guys back then, they were all original, and when you heard them, they had their own style. And I remember going to concerts, man, and you can tell who was on stage by the flow that you heard from backstage, or you could tell who was on stage by the music or by the style. Now it's more of, we're going to do what's trending. So, and it's not just Christian hip hop, it's the secular hip hop too. Right. Everything pretty much sounds the same. It's the same rhythm, the same bars, the same flow, you know, the same hooks almost, you know. So and I don't really hear many hooks now. I just kind of hear chants in the middle, and it, you know. But now it's like almost you have to decipher, hey, is this Christian rap? Is it, you know, is he talking about God? Or, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a whole lot different now. It's a lot different.
I mean, so where is the line? Because when I started, right, I was hesitant, because when I first was working on my album, it was going to be a compilation album. I wasn't going to do, I might would have done a hook or two or something, but I was trying to get other people to be on my beats. But I was new, so I didn't really know anybody. I was asking people from my church, but they wasn't really trying to pursue it. They could sing, but they wasn't really like, okay, I'm gonna come into the studio. But every day was, no, I can't make it because I gotta do this. So I was just like, you know what? If we just keep writing songs, and I always could rap. You know, I used to rap back in the day. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do a song and see what happens. This would be my song on the album. Right. And then like I did one, I did two, but then I was like, man, but I don't want to. I felt like I wasn't worthy to be out there because I was still like a baby, you know, a baby Christian, you know, and I was just like, man, I don't want to look like I'm trying to be something. So where is that line that I'm doing this for the Lord, but or I'm doing this for the fame, but like, how do you separate those things? I don't want to say fame. I just want to say, well, I guess so. Popularity. I'm doing this for the attention. So where's that line? Or what? Just give me what you think about that.
Well, I see where you're coming from. I'm trying to think. When I first started doing Christian rap, man, we started back, believe it or not, I started in 97, 98. And this was after I heard BBJ do, he took the Elder Barge, all his love, all this love is waiting for you. And he had that song. I don't know if you ever heard it. But when I started, it was like slowly but surely word got around. Mr. Q, Mr. Q, Mr. Q. Once I started doing these big shows, it felt good, but then I had to remember why I was doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because man, I was in there, and all of my songs were always conviction songs. My songs were really deep, convicting songs. I wrote songs like "Hell Is Hot." I had the devil voice in the background. All of this stuff. But when it came to, and I could say I was always like an humble. I guess I can say that I was always an humble dude, because people would come to me, "Hey man, you did so good," and I didn't know how to respond. And I'm talking about, I would have lots of people, coming up to me, but then I had friends that were a little different. I would bring guys down, and some of the guys had gotten so into the Christian rap, and the audiences, they had huge audiences, and it was almost like an arrogant situation that overcame them. And I think what happens is that's when we forget that we're doing Christian rap, we're doing it for God, and we can't forget that. Because once you forget that, it's okay to have fame and have a lot of people following you, and have your audience, and have your fans. But once you take them and put them above the reason why you're doing it, I think that's where the line is drawn right there. And I've seen it a lot. I've seen it, I've seen some of the best, man. And it's, So I've seen it happen. So yeah, you're right. There's a line, and I think the line is when you forget you're doing it for God, because the fame has got you.
And then you see it, because now I think we both seen this recently. Since I started, because I started in 2014, but from that point to now, I saw shifts. I saw holy hip hop, Christian rap, holy hip hop. And then it went from, well, I don't want to be this, labeled this, which is, I get labels. I don't want to, but it started to change because, once the money starts coming, once people start seeing that, oh, this can do this. But now what do I need to do to change how I am, or what I'm doing, or what I'm calling what I'm doing, so I can get closer to that side of it? I've seen that. Even like just saying I'm not gospel rap, I'm inspirational hip hop. So it's that thought that I understand you wanna. If you was inspirational hip hop, it's fine. I'm not saying nothing wrong with that, but it's just that thought that you decide that you want to switch it up for a reason, besides why I started, of how you started.
And I think that reason is to get that platform on the other side. That reason is to get that platform on the other side. And what a lot of these fellas don't realize is that I don't have to label myself anything other than a Christian rapper. People know, hey, Mr. Q, he do Christian rap. But then you may go through my album and be like, oh, okay. you know, anybody can listen to it. There's a message in there for everybody. I have a song called Real Man. It basically talks about a story about a mother whose baby's father's not taking care of the child. You know, stuff like that. That's inspirational, but that doesn't take the title of me being a Christian rap artist.
Yeah.
But I believe it's more of this when it comes to that.
being accepted by more people. You know, it's only a few. When you all in, it's only a few. But just kind of wanting to be accepted by more people. Gotta say, because it's nothing wrong because regular rappers aren't called. Well, you know, now some of them called gangster rappers. So I can't say that. You got the conscious rappers, but they don't really label themselves that. It's just what that genre is. You know what I'm saying? So I get I don't want to. I'm a rapper. That's a Christian. You know, or I'm a Christian that raps. And if you want to call my music that, cool. But I know some people have been trying to get away from it rather than just accepting what it is and what it, you know, what's coming.
I'll be honest with you. I believe, like I said, okay, I can tell you this story real quick. So this is another thing you didn't know about me. In 2005 or 6, my uncle, who lives in Houston, knew some big time record producers. And, you know, we online, so I won't say their names, but they were big time enough to get me where I wanted to go. And I remember having conversations, and it was almost easing around to where, hey, yeah, if you can write something other than this, or if you can you write this? I'm like, yeah, I can write anything. I've written hundreds of songs, literally. So I can write anything, but can you write this? And we want you to sound like this, so that way we can take you here. And I think that's where it was, because the one guy, man, he had a yacht, he had a huge house, stayed in the Sugarland area, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars. He was connected with some of the biggest in the industry, and that's what they wanted to do. But since I wasn't budging, they slowly backed away. They produced my album, or they put it out. It was in Walmart's, Best Buys, Hastings.
Hastings, yeah.
Yeah, old Circuit City back in the day.
Yeah.
But they slowly backed away. And I didn't think of it until I got older. I was like, I wouldn't compromise. So the audience, most people think if you're doing Christian rap, your audience is not as big. But I beg to differ. But I think that's one of the things, because that happened to me. I signed with the record label, signed the contract, did the whole deal. They shot out 2,000 to 3,000 copies first. Then they started, duplicating more copies. It felt great to walk into a store and see your album.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
on the shelf.
Yeah, them shit.
Yeah. And we talking about back 2004, 2005. That was unheard of.
Yeah, man. And don't let's say everybody has their own walk. And because I'm saying that because I'm bringing this subject up right now. We're talking about because my story was different. Like I was on the secular side as a producer. I'm navigating, had some early success, had some pretty good success early.
Oh yeah, you did.
It fizzled out, and I just kept walking. It was all good. I didn't even notice it fizzled out. This kind of thing. I just kept moving. I wasn't like, I just kept walking. You know what I'm saying? Right now, this is where I'm at in this season. So I took a break, you know what I'm saying, from it all. I was still making beats and stuff. And that's when I was getting into the church. I was reading my word, going to church. I was listening to men pour into me, not boys anymore. I started listening to men and pastors and husbands and dads and grown men. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, when I started writing, I was trying to stop myself from saying God in the song. You know what I'm saying? I was like, but it sounds so much better if I just put the Lord, you know what I'm saying? I was tripping. I was like, man, if I said the Lord is my light and my salvation, that kind of go right there. But no, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But then I just kept, I just wrote it. I just wrote it. Cause dog, I didn't even know the Lord is my light and my salvation was a verse in the Bible.
Yeah. It just came to you.
It just came. That's my first song. I didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, what? I guess I heard it from somewhere, but I didn't read it and see it and write it. I just came out and it was word for word, So after that, I'm like, man, so I'm steady trying to make it. So I'm putting God's word in my verses. I put the album out. Next thing you know, I'm on stage in front of people. I'm selling music. I'm traveling around the country, meet new people because I did that. So to me, I wouldn't have been where I'm at if I didn't obey what God wanted me to do. So to me, I can't do nothing. If you want to call me a gospel rapper, I'm for it. Cause this is where he put me. I was still trying to do my thing, but then he put me in front of more people than I had ever been in my life. You know what I'm saying? Because I obeyed what he wanted me to do. And to me, I wouldn't have been where I'm at. So I'm not going to compromise nothing. You know what I'm saying? But this is my walk though. This is my testimony.
Yeah.
So I would never compromise anything. That's what it is. And wherever it take me, I'm happy with it because it's been joyful. It's been a blessing from this point, man. So yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And you're right. It's a blessing to when you can travel. And even now, man, I had like literally rapped at an event in probably a few years. But people see, wait a minute, you Mr. Q. They start quoting songs that I did, and I'm like, you remember that song? Oh, I got the CD. And when they say they got the CD, I feel like old boy on Hustle and Flow when he had that mixtape.
Oh yeah,
and they show me that CD. I'm like, I don't even have one of those. You know what I'm saying? And like people hear you, and I think and a lot of times is when you do. Maybe I'm wrong, but when you really I know I'm right. I hate to say that. But when you really let God guide your hands with the pen, your music is timeless. Like people hear my music now and they're like, when did you do that? Oh, I did this song in 2001. But it's timeless because it's not a trend. It's unique because we're peculiar people.
Yeah.
So when you write like your music is timeless. You can play that forever. You know what I'm saying? Because my favorite song was Sometime This World.
Yeah.
That was my favorite song.
Yeah, man.
And I'm gonna tell you what was crazy. When I first met you, people in the audience were singing your song as if you had been out for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. When God put his hand on you to make you do it and he chose you to do it, you don't have a choice. And he's going to set you before the audience. He's going to allow that to happen,
And look, and I know, and he reminds me every time because when I try to slow down or I say I'm a chill, you want to chill? I'm going to make it chill. I'm going to make everything chill. Okay, you want to stop? I'm going to make everything. Whatever else you trying to do, and not do what I wanted you to do, I'm going to make everything stop. That's what he do.
And then you get that one call. Hey man, you still rapping?
Yeah.
And boom, you got to go back out there. It happens. That's what happens, man. I'm telling you.
And then
it happens.
Yeah, and everything for man. So you done some music before? No, not before. You do music to my before. And
I still do music.
You produce songs and write. So you send me some songs. So this song, I'm going to play a song. Let me see. I'm gonna play a song, and this is "Don't Cry." This is a song that you wrote.
I wrote that song, produced it, and also shot a video on it.
Okay, so this is your song. This is you.
That's my song.
All right, so we gonna play a song by Mr. Q called "Don't Cry." He on the BeatStreet. Y'all check it out.
I see you sitting on the sofa with your face in your hands and you think your life is over. You sit and think to yourself that you're just a little girl and then intend to bring a baby in this world. Your boyfriend said he loved you, said he'd be around, but when the baby's born he couldn't be found. Your mother couldn't bear the shame, put you out in the cold, and you're only 15 years old. So now you're out on the streets with not enough food to share with you and the baby, so you apply for welfare. They say to wait a little while, the list is pretty long, and you don't know how you're gonna feed your child. But you decide to say your body is the only way out to put food in your baby's mouth. But stop looking, listen, think about what you're doing. Dry your eyes, girl, cause you don't have to cry. Mama, before you walk outside that door, could you please think about what you're doing? I see you walking out and your kids are at the house. Nobody there to take care of them. You just leaving them going out on the streets, doing whatever you want to do. I got a message for you. Could you please just think about it? Look, you don't have to cry. Listen. Now listen, mama, where in the world have you gone? See your son on the telephone, praying that you come home. Come to your children, leave the drugs alone, and it hurts. How can it be to see their mother walking in the streets every time they go to sleep at night? Mama, you leave out and you know it ain't right. It's 3 o'clock early in the morning. When you come back home, your children up yawning, sitting on the couch, watching TV, saying, Mama, there's no food to eat, but all you do is turn your head, slam the door, and go get back in the bed. Now, Mama, you really need some help. Your children can't make it in this world by themselves, So don't think about the past, how you been hurt.
Man, you from the South on that song. Hey, you from Texas on there, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes,
you from
sir.
Texas, man. With a little Master P up in that thing too. I got a little P up in there.
Oh,
that
boy.
second verse had some P in it, man.
Oh, man.
Hey, man, that was rolling, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So when did you drop this?
Oh man, I've done several different versions of that. The very first one I did was actually, I record all of my music. I recorded at Pun Studio.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pun. And the first one I did, it was an original beat. We had sat there. He did it on the PlayStation, and I started writing. I said, man, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna do this. He was laughing, right? And it was an old 112 sample, and it was like, yeah, and it was going over and over again. And so I rapped really fast, same song. So then I sped up, and I eventually came up with this, which was, at first I used the original song cry, so it was basically a mixtape. But then we redid it originally by hand. But I'd say the actual year that was written was 2002.
Man, okay.
2002 was when I first wrote the lyrics to that song. 2002. Yep.
Yeah, man. Hey, y'all, look. He owns the rights to this song, so when y'all send me that copyright infringement, I'm gonna dispute it, cause so don't cut this song out on this video. This is the guy who wrote this song, did this song, all right?
It's on iTunes. It's
cause they
everywhere.
go send it to me and try to chop it off. So I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna dispute it, man. All right, man. We gonna play one more of these tunes, man. This one is called Almost Out of Time.
Now, hey, I'm gonna tell you something. When you hit this one, it's got a little controversial in there. So go ahead and roll.
All right, here we go. Turn this on back up.
talks about peerless times. Said men will be lovers of themselves more than lovers of God. Proud, boasters, blasphemers, unthankful, unholy, disobedient to their parents. All these things are the signs of the times. Earthquakes in diverse places. Check it out, we almost out of time. Listen, now as I sit back and watch the news, I can't help but see the children killed and being abused. I can't help but notice young girls being misused. Rebellious children breaking rules at home and in the schools. Shouldn't their peers leave their bodies laying in bloody pools? And all we do is sit and laugh like some silly fools. I ask this question, if there really is a way out. It gets so to the point it makes me want to scream and shout. Check it, daughters turn their backs against their mothers. Sons turn their backs against their fathers and their brothers. People no longer showing love to one another. God-fearing country having more problems than any other. Commit a murder, shift the blame, you just killed your lover. But you continue to live your life living undercover. I ask this question, if there really is a way out. It gets so to the point it makes me want to scream and shout. Cause we're almost out of time. I said we're almost out of time. Listen, here we go. Listen. There's a few more things I don't understand. Women fall in love with women, men are loving men. At church we love one another, enemies in the streets. High priests taking advantage of little boys between the sheets. We turn a deaf ear when God's voice begin to speak. Committing suicide because your mind is very weak. I ask the question, if there really is a way out. It gets so to the point it makes me want to scream and shout. Check it. As I wake up in the morning, I realize that the days are getting short and the world is growing colder. No time for looking back, trying to correct the past, yet and still I gotta look over my shoulders. People no longer showing brotherly love. They're just trying to get ahead, trying to make themselves a dollar. But I don't worry, cause I know that one day he's gonna come back. Guess why? Cause we're almost out of time. Yeah, send a sign.
Man, that message is right on for right now. Today, this second.
Yes, sir. Yes,
This second,
sir.
man. Man, that message, man, because that's where we at, man. That's where we
And
at
I
for
tell
sure.
you- And I tell you, when I wrote that, I actually wrote it as a regular song, which I'm about to do it again. But I wrote it as a regular song back in 2001. My daddy loved it. And I said, I want to take this a little further and make it a rap song. So we got in the studio, let the beat flow, got on top of it. And 2003, this song was put out. Yes,
Man,
sir.
I like that flow, man. Boy,
Yes,
George,
sir.
Mr. Q and jamming boy. You said, man, dog. Hey, I
Yes,
didn't hear
sir.
this when I ran across a little bit of gospel rap back then. I don't know if I was hearing stuff like this when I was, from back then. I wasn't hearing nothing
Because
like this.
back then, I'll tell you what it was a lot of. Like you said that you were trying to do. You were trying to keep God out of it, but then you had to keep him in it. But back then, everybody was trying, that was already doing Christian rap. They were trying to overly saturate the song with scriptures and God, which was, they were trying to say this is gospel. They're trying to make people know that it was gospel. So you would hardly ever hear songs like that because everything was maybe, I know some songs back in the day that was like, Jesus loved me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so, little one, they were doing rap like that back then. And what happened was, like I said, I would literally sit around and, I wrote this song in 2002, right after the Twin Towers and Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein had came on the scene. If you hear the lyrics on the actual song, it says, Osama bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, knocking buildings down with jumbo jet planes, suicide bombers bumming on the trains. Now, this was back in 2001. 2003, I took those Osama bin Laden out, and I started talking about other stuff. So yeah, man, but that's just the way the songs would come to me. Like everything I wrote a song called Church Folk. And look, let me tell you how crazy I was back in the day. I would hear a Luda song, or I would hear Lil Jon, and Lil Jon had that song, "What We Gon' Do?" And I did a song called "Put Your Dukes Up." You know, it was the same, and we would go and do them songs. And I had a song called "Church Folk." Why you all in my ear talking a whole lot of stuff I ain't trying to hear? You know, it was crazy because that's what I did.
Yeah.
So like a lot of my stuff was a little different because it was more conviction songs or fun songs or storytelling songs, but it was all gospel rap.
Man, right on, man. Right on, man. So we've been kind of up and down with the conversation. We've been on some serious stuff, man. But Mr. Q, I met him as telling some jokes, man. Hey, my favorite joke of yours. It's all time favorite to me now. It's when you at the church and you talking about, I don't know the joke well, but it's when you fall to the floor. That one.
Oh,
no, that had me. That took me out because I
say this may be my last time. When when I was talking about how I went to the church with my daddy,
yeah,
and this man was singing, "This may be my last time," and he fell out on the floor. But most people, that's true.
Yeah.
Like he literally fell out, and you know. Stuff like that when I tell stories, and that's what I try to do. And that's another thing with my Christian comedy. I try to tell true stories, and people like, he lying. No, if my daddy's in there, he would vouch for me.
Yeah.
But dude, that was the funniest thing I had ever seen in church. That was now. Then it wasn't so funny. It was scary.
Yeah. Man, I was like, Lord, man, 'cause that's crazy. Yeah, man. So, man, look. Anything, man, it was really good talking to you. I don't know how much time we got left. How much time we got left, Marcus? Well, how much time have we been going?
You've been going about 40 minutes.
Okay, we're going about 40. Okay. So, man, what today, man? Let's talk about the message. I mean, our role today, man, in this world as men of faith, as Christians, man, what should we be doing right now with everything going on?
Right now, we should be discipling, literally. Letting people know about Jesus, being a light. The main thing is being a light. And my wife and I talked about this last night, that it's time out for that song you got, Ain't No Half Stepping. It's time out for half stepping, because now it's very vital that we have to make sure that if a soul is lost on our watch, it's not because we didn't tell them. If even while they're living on the earth, if someone fails in life and they've been around us, it's not because we hadn't tried to teach them or tried to warn them. And the main thing we need to be doing is teaching our boys to be men, teaching our boys to grow up to be men, because the world is teaching them otherwise, and that's what we need to do. I mean, people can argue with me all day long, but from where I'm from, it was only two types of people in the world. That was that boy and that girl. Yeah. So we need to teach that. Also, we need to teach how to be men. We need to teach them, different things that it takes to be responsible, to be men. And as well as the women, they need to teach the girls the same way. That's how it was back when I was little, you know. And you said that too. The men were teaching you how to be a man. Yeah. And that's what we need to do. And we need to, like I say, continue to disciple people to Christ. And you don't have to jump in their face. You better do this, No, you be a light. So if you showing the light, you can show the light sitting down eating some fried chicken. Well, I know you don't eat fried chicken, but you can show the light by sitting down eating fried chicken or riding a bike down the street. I know they have a bike ministry in Houston. They ride around on a bike, across the city and disciple people with bikes, So it's almost by any means necessary, man. We need to make sure that especially our young people coming up, because they got it rough. They got too much to offer. I remember people used to say in church, "Oh, the world ain't got nothing to offer." Oh, yes, they do, man. Yeah, I don't know who said that lie, but they got a whole lot to offer.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And that's the main thing.
I definitely liked it better when you didn't know. I'm not saying there's some good information out there. Don't get me wrong that that we was told that would, but the thing I like now, I like back then, it's like what these kids can see now. They can see everybody's everything.
Yes.
And everybody, it's so many. Like you probably had that one person on your street, maybe two, with the brand new Cadillac. They got the brand new Cadillac, cool. But when you seeing everybody everywhere with the brand new Cadillac, you start feeling less about yourself. Like I need a Cadillac now. Oh, if they got one, then I need it. I need to at least act like I got one. Let me act like I got something. Then you got the depression coming in, and you got the suicide, and you got the bullying because you ain't got this. Your jeans cost how much? It's like it's a lot of that stuff going on. So that's definitely, I know they definitely have to deal with it a lot more than we did,
And then when you mention that, and you know what that turns into, and I talk to a lot of parents and I talk to the community, that turns into, we end up with criminals in the community, because now the boy can't get it, he go get it.
Yeah.
Any way he can get it. If the girls, if they can't get it, they go into the store to steal it. They're gonna do what they can to get it. And it's crazy to watch, because I'm in the college and career center, and I hear so many different. I get the smart kids, I get the really, really smart kids, I get the super smart kids, I get the not so smart kids, I get the kids that don't care. They all come through the college and career center from one reason or another. And to see them, I have a lounge in there. They come and sit, and I don't get in their conversation because I feel like you learn more when you be quiet. I could easily sit there and give lectures all day, but I listen. And these kids come in, some of them hurting, some of them frustrated. They'll come in, "Mr. Q, can I sit in with you?" "What's wrong?" "Well, I'm really embarrassed to go to class." "Why?" "I got a hole in the bottom of my hoodie. I can't see that hole." "Well, they can see it, Mr. Q, so they're picking on me, So, yeah, you can sit in here all day. And it's one of those things where you sit down and you find out, my parents don't have much. My dad is in prison, or my mom died, or, And then you have the kid that has 5 pair of Jordans, but can't spell his first name. But he has the nerves to laugh at the kid with the hoodie on. And I've seen the tables turn. So when that kid with the hoodie graduates, they're in the top 5% of their class. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I would sit down and talk to them, I say, "Hey, look at where you are. Look at what you have. Once you graduate, go to college, you're going to be great. You're great now." So I have to hold those conversations, because like you said, society is really making our kids, when they get older, they spend money on fake body parts, and they buy these teeth that don't fit in their mouth, and they're pure. I'm like, why? But you're right. Social media and society and the brain candy on television, as I call it, brain candy.
Right on, man. Right on, man. Now I'm going to read this proverb, man, before we get out. Let's see, I'm going to say what I think. You can tell me what you think, man. This is what Ain't No Half Stepping is based on. Let's see. It's Proverbs 13:4. The soul of a lazy man desires and has nothing, but the soul of a diligent shall be made rich. And then people out there that's make it more plain is, read this version. Lazy people want much but get little, but those who work hard will prosper. So it's, you you know how like how you notice always the person who doesn't do anything always talking about what they want, or if you sitting around and doing nothing, your imagination goes wild. Not saying there's not a time to rest, but
Yeah.
but it's like you always, man, I want this, I want that, and you get nothing. So what do you think about that verse?
I feel that verse is basically saying, there's also a scripture in the Bible that talks about the ant. And it says, go to the ant, thy sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. An ant is always working. Yeah. Ant is always working. There's a scripture that says, if you don't work, you don't eat.
Yeah.
And it's basically saying that because you have people who don't have it, but they feel entitled. So they sit back and wait for somebody to give them something. But then you have the one that's always working, always doing this, always tired, always. But eventually they'll get to the point to what they're trying to reach because they constantly work for it.
Yeah.
And I believe my favorite scripture is Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added. And
Amen.
I found that to be true.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right on, man. Man, good talking to you, my brother, Mr. Q. What you got coming up, man?
Man, look, I was waiting for you to ask me that. So on the 13th of August, I have what I call my supporters appreciation. And that's where I feed the folk that come in who supported me. I know you probably saw it on the website. Go on, click, get your ticket, you and your wife. We got Deacon Ray. We got Reb Meatloaf. We got Deacon Where My Money At. We got Jethro Dollar. All these are my characters. Okay. So it's going to be a night of crazy laughter. The seating is limited. Only 100 people are able to come, and they're going to have soul food. So it's called Deacon Ray's Comedy and Soul Food. And then I got a song coming out, the re-release of Almost Out of Time, the blues jazz version. And that's pretty much what I got right now. I'm shooting my movies and stuff, but mainly I got my comedy show coming out. I'm excited about that because people are going to listen. You're going to see some stuff and hear some stuff you had never heard me do. You've heard all of my comedy.
Yeah. So what's that date again? What's the day?
It's August 13th.
I need to have this out before August 13th. Definitely had this episode out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, mate. Man, it was good once again talking to you, man. Glad you on this podcast, man. And
yes, sir.
Thank you for just doing what you do, man, and always hollering at me, hey, can you come on out? It's been a blessing, man. And hey, it's been a blessing, man, knowing you, man, and your family, man. So
yes, sir. You too, man. You too.
Yeah, man. Already, man. So peace out, man. Already, y'all. Hey, y'all look, y'all like and subscribe this thing again. Y'all go check out Mr. Q Music. It's online. I'll have the links in the description so where you can find his music and everything he's doing, man. So already, y'all have a good day. For sure.